We do have confirmed breaking news around the New York Giants, and you just heard it with Boomer and Gio. They have an offensive coordinator, and that is Matt Nagy, the former OC of the Kansas City Chiefs, is now the offensive coordinator for John Harbaugh and the New York Giants. Tiki Barber, A, how are you? And B, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I like this pick. In fact, when the offseason head coaching carousel first started, a name that I brought up was Matt Nagy.
You did.
Why has he been in coaching purgatory ever since his, what I think is being viewed as a failed stint in Chicago, even though if you go back and take it in context of who his quarterbacks were, Mitch Trubisky, who he won, I think, double-digit games
12 and 4.
Yeah, one of those years. And after that started to fade and he couldn't get more out of Mitch Trubisky, they shifted to the unbelievable Pro Bowl alternate who turned it down, Justin Fields. You hear that, right? You guys heard that, right?
Yes.
They got down to Justin Fields for the AFC quarterback in the Pro Bowl, and he said no.
I believe I'm responsible for that.
Wow.
Do you remember a week ago?
I know.
I compared Shador's numbers to Fields' numbers and said, Justin's better. What are we doing here?
Anyways, his last season in Chicago was with Justin Fields as a rookie, so you can imagine how excellent that was. And he gets fired, and he has not gotten a shot at being a head coach again. Instead, he goes back to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he wins a couple of Super Bowls, and even though he's not calling plays, he's largely viewed as a pretty good offensive coordinator. And so, not that I've been high on him, but I kind of like this hire, mainly because of what he employs and what he likes to do offensively. I think is going to fit with Jaxson Dart, and I got to tell you, I'm telling you, you hear it right now. The person who's going to benefit most is Theo Johnson. As long as he learns how to catch the damn ball,
well,
Theo Johnson is going to be heavily utilized in this offense.
Yeah, so the thing with Matt Nagy is the reason the Chiefs let him go is because he wanted to call plays.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid came out and said, hey, this is a guy who deserves to call plays. He didn't call plays in Kansas City because, as we all know, the great Andy Reid should be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but probably won't be based on the way the Hall of Fame works. He's been calling plays.
Well, I think when Andy Reid retires, he's really going to retire.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Bill Belichick is probably not retired.
When Andy retires, he's going to be 107. So, yeah, they'll just stick him in the Hall of Fame. The thing about Matt Nagy is that, and I'm not telling you it's a bad hire by any stretch, I'm just going through his history real quick. He hasn't called plays a lot.
No, he hasn't.
Because he did it in Chicago, and you mentioned that the Bears went backwards, and on multiple occasions when the Bears were struggling offensively, he would relinquish play-calling duties and hand it to his offensive coordinator. So even in the time in which he had the ultimate power in Chicago, that's something he relinquished multiple times. And obviously the success in Kansas City, not that it should be diminished, but we don't think of Matt Nagy. We think of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
Yeah.
But I think where I would be excited and where I would say this is a good hire is, A, the guy who's doing it, John Harbaugh, who has a history under Andy Reid. They never worked together, Harbaugh and Nagy, but they both come from Philadelphia. John was there before Nagy got there. They both worked for Andy Reid. John has mentioned his relationship with Andy Reid, so I'm sure Andy was on the phone saying, hire this guy.
Right.
He will do a great job developing Jaxson Dart, calling plays, and being wonderful.
And designing offense and putting schemes out there that are complex and motion for motion's sakes and giving you pre-snap reads and all those other things that a smart quarterback like Jaxson Dart is really going to take advantage of. It's going to be heavily RPO, so I think the run game starts to benefit as well. So this is not something where you're saying, oh, this is an absolute home run. This is the best offensive coordinator that's available. But you're also not saying the opposite. Right? This is, I think, a good hire, especially given who the head coach is.
It's the kind of hire where if things go well for the New York Giants, if they are what Sean thinks, what a lot of people think, Matt Nagy will be gone next year. He'll be the head coach of another team.
Now, if they win 12 games,
yes,
like he did his first year in Chicago, yeah, he'll be a head coach somewhere.
And by the way, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, you saw it with Philadelphia over the last few years where when they win, their OC and DCs are gone, then they have to replace them. I like to say that's a problem for next year.
Right. Well, it's a problem that it becomes an issue if you don't hire a good quarterback coach. So now that we've got our offensive coordinator, who's the quarterback coach? Because it better be somebody who's going to be the next offensive coordinator.
Right.
And it's different when you start hiring guys like Charles London with the New York Jets. Like, was he ever going to be an offensive coordinator, or is he always going to be a quarterback coach? And so when you hire that guy who's at his ceiling already for a position like quarterback coach, then what you're stopping forward momentum inside the organization.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Whoever's next is now what's interesting to me.
It's also a good problem to have if someone's
Yes.
next, because, again, it means the Giants had success. It means Jaxson Dart had great success. But what John has done with this hire is he's at least brought someone in that we're all aware of. We all know Matt Nagy. He's a guy who had a mixed results in terms of coaching in Chicago, as you pointed out, a really good first year with Mitch Trubisky. I mean, you win 12 games in the NFL, you did something right. And then, unfortunately, it just went backwards.
Right.
And it didn't work. And then he lost his job. And we all know what happened in Chicago. They've actually turned it around now. He goes back to Kansas City. He doesn't call plays, but he certainly helps his value a little bit. And we'll see. We'll see how good this is. Are you pumped up, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I wasn't going to be very critical of any John Harbaugh hire, as we keep alluding to that honeymoon phase. But what the Giants have here is a very competent staff with experience. Denard Wilson now is a defensive coordinator with experience as a DC. And Matt Nagy, I mean, you just go through his whole history here. Nagy, I'm sorry. I have to get this right. It's pronounced like Neggy.
It's like Peggy.
Yeah, like Peggy.
Yes.
Matt Nagy.
Yes.
I think is a competent offensive
It's got me
coordinator.
reconsidering former Indian pitcher Charles Nagy. Like, how do you pronounce his name now? I don't even know.
And look, now you have two branches off the Andy Reid tree, and I know Harbaugh's basically become his own tree, but I just think that's competency. And I don't know how I could scream and yell about this. And again, good problem to have. If he takes off with Jaxson Dart and he's a head coaching candidate, it could coincide with Todd Monken being fired with Cleveland, in which case you get your guy back anyway.
It's actually a rather somewhat realistic scenario. I think I preferred Cliff Kingsbury because we went through it yesterday on the program. I named like 5 names that had been attached to the Giants. Nagy was one of them, so we talked about him briefly. I preferred Cliff Kingsbury, but it's a solid hire. It's a fine hire. I mean, here's what I know about the New York Giants. Here's what everyone should know about the New York Giants. You are in a competent place when it comes to your coaching staff.
Right.
You can trust who your head coach is, and you can trust who he's bringing in. That leads us to the Jets, who still do not have an offensive coordinator. If you are just tuning in, here's what we know. Here are the facts. Frank Reich is in town, and he's meeting with the Jets. We've heard the name Darryl Bevell.
Yep.
We've heard the name Greg Roman.
Right. Second interview.
Right. So which means it's serious business.
Right. This could be don't let him leave town type of situation.
Very well could be. All I know is the feeling that us Jet fans have is that this franchise doesn't know what they're doing. That's just the feeling we have. The whole Wink Martindale thing felt sloppy.
Yeah.
The firing or the we're not firing of Tanner Engstrand has felt sloppy. And so as we sit here today on February 3rd, it does feel like the Jets will also name an OC today. It's very different than what we just talked about with the Giants, where there's a level of competence.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth, but before you say a word, let me vouch for you.
Okay.
Sean is becoming an NFL insider. I don't know how. I guess he talks to a lot of people. He's got sources now. And when he came on the air a few months ago and did the whole thing about Daboll was about to be fired, he turned out to be right. Yes, there was a quibble between you and someone on social media. I forget her name, Nikki. But overall, you guys were both right. Nikki deserves credit. You deserve credit. So I do acknowledge you. What a promo last night by him, by the way. I mean, that was the best thing on TV. I mean, your tribal chief is back, ladies and gentlemen. Anyhow, no one knows what that means except for 10 people.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, thank you. So I acknowledge you that you have an idea of what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So the floor is yours. Even though he hosts 2 giant podcasts, Sean's got sources. Inform me, Tiki, and the audience this exclusive inside information you have about the status of the New York Jets.